Under Supervisor Bartlett, authorize county to withdraw from Orange County Power Authority Joint Powers Agreement and direct County Council to send notice to all appropriate parties of JPA and demand that Power Authority immediately cease undertaking any activities to procure power from unincorporated residents and incurring any further costs attributed to the county.
In terms of leadership, a recent Orange County grand jury report was highly critical of the OCPA operating without in-house leadership with sufficient expertise to oversee the very complex decisions involved in energy planning and transactions, and cites numerous problems with OCPA's transparency and accountability. This comes on the heels of a $2 million fine imposed to OCPA by the California Public Utilities Commission for its failure to purchase enough electricity to ensure that customers have uninterrupted service this summer and beyond. So who is responsible for paying the $2 million fine? The comparison shows that OCPA's rates for the basic choice plan are on par with SCE's rates. However, in some cases, the rates were significantly higher than SCE, as much as 7+%.
This was something, as I've covered this as a journalist, this is something that came about from Irvine Mayor Farrakhan and I believe Vice Mayor, but certainly Council Member Mike Carroll, who were advised by a woman named Melahat Rafieh, who has been involved in the scandal regarding Irvine and who had Brian Probolski hired, despite, as far as I can tell, no particular qualifications to run this agency for a tremendously large salary. This information was known to me and to others quite a while ago, and I want to know when you guys first figured it out and why it's coming up so late, essentially. I know that I think that Irvine is doing their own investigation of it, but this strikes me as it's a multi-city sort of thing. It strikes me as the sort of problem that warrants some serious investigation, and I don't know that it should be simply left to the city of Irvine.
I know that you're a management analyst. Did your superiors send you here with authority to make any decisions here today?
I do not believe so.
Okay. So that was convenient. And that is also what goes to the issue of trust, right? It seems a bit odd to me that, as Supervisor Wagner, who sits on the board, says, we have no idea how much the Power Authority has spent to procure power for the unincorporated area. How is that possible? Do we know?
That's something that I think we'd have to get back to you on, Supervisor.
What is the timing for the county?
Yeah, so customers can begin opting out 60 days prior to their enrollment. So if we did that, say, like October 1st, they would be able to start opting out 60 days prior to that.
No, the county itself.
Oh, of the Joint Powers Authority. Yes, so all changes between basically now and the end of this year, December 31st, would not have a big impact on, right, everything's happened kind of at the end of the calendar year.
And what would the withdrawal date then be?
Well, I think...
You give notice by end of the year. When would we be effectively out of the Power Authority?
I think, you know, you could immediately notify the CPUC and us.
Well, my understanding is the date would be July 1. You must give 6 months' notice. Is that correct?
Mr. Chairman, it's 180 days required notice, but it's not effective until the end of the fiscal year. So if the board were to direct my office to issue notice today, the notice would not become effective until July 2023.
Of next year?
Right.
Okay. No, I understood that. Actually, I wanted to see what the understanding of our speaker was. So how can we be sure we're getting clean power? For example, I stay in, let's say, and my neighbor chooses to go out. We're both getting power with the same line. How can I be sure I'm getting green power?
Yeah, so we are regulated by the state, by both the CEC and CPUC. And so if you were on the 100% renewable plan, your generation charges, we would take those and then buy 100% renewable. There's something called the power content label, PCL. So it would show that your power that you're purchasing through us is coming from 100% renewable sources.
But my neighbor is getting his power off the same line.
Correct. So power does flow through path of least resistance. However, like I said, what you're purchasing, what you're paying for, and what we're buying on your behalf is 100% renewable. So we're putting 100% renewable energy onto the grid.
On the grid, and my neighbor may actually getting some of that?
Yeah, like I said, it flows at the power of least resistance, so we can't control exactly where the power goes.
Okay, well, that's
I know.
hard to say you're actually getting renewable power. And then let me ask you a loaded question. Have you responded to the grand jury report?
Not at this time.
So I would like copies of the power contracts. If you purchase them for the benefit of the county, I'd like copies of them. I assume those are public records.
Most power purchase contracts are confidential. We do provide some, but there will be redactions.
I think if you would later claim damages for the county's withdrawal, you would have to provide those. So I want to be sure that's actually happened, that it's not something you're planning to do and can be prevented.
If the questions aren't answered to this board's satisfaction, then it's time to make a decision to move forward or not. But it is premature now, and all of those concerns can be, will be, and to my mind, successfully be addressed in those audits that are ongoing and that we've talked about conducting ourselves. I'd urge a no vote on this.
I will renew my motion with the addition that the county gets to decide who the auditor is. And we have agreement from the Orange County Power Authority to open up the books, as they say. Is that correct?
What we're legally able to.
Okay. Well, what does that mean?
Like I said, I believe there are some contracts that there may be some information that's confidential.
I think we're going to give them, we're going to send out a letter with all of the requests for the audit, and then we're going to give them a week to respond, and they have to affirmatively agree to everything that we're requesting. If they don't, then that would automatically trigger Leon to go through the motion to withdraw from the Orange County Power Authority.
So the board, the county board, who Supervisor Wagner represents on the authority, directed him essentially to vote for the audit. So he can't say no at the meeting, right, Mr. Page? So if they go to the meeting on September 6th, then Supervisor Wagner's the swing vote. He can't deny what the board has directed. That's right.
Yes, he can.
He can?
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay,
different-
well, hopefully he won't.
Different suit of clothes.
Putting you on notice.
He will fix it for sure.
You're all watching, I know. By the way, and that board is it's a 6-person board. So I don't know who the swing vote necessarily would be, but in any event, I understand what this board, we will try to get the answers, because as I've said before, I think the answers are there. So no, I'm not going to thwart this board's will on that board.